Welcome. Can you believe it's August already? Here's your August energy update for the next few weeks. So, I'm calling August.Turning Point because there's been a backlog of energy this year. Many people felt the first few months of the year it was hard to get things up and running and to really get our teeth into things. It was like there could have been some stop starts, and I feel like August is the turning point that we all need to actually get this momentum spinning. So it's quite an intense month, but I feel in the best way because we can actually sink our teeth into whatever projects or work or dreams and desires that we are working on creating and manifesting. So I have here, you may be sensing this turning point occurring around between the 9th and the 11th or the 12th of August. So I feel like the energy reaches a peak around the 11th, but for some of you it'll also be the 12th. I am aware that many people celebrate the Lion's Gate on reaching a climax on the 8th of August, but I'm just tuning into the energies that I'm picking up on, and I do feel like we are in this Lion's Gate frequency right now. We're already in it from the first few days of August, but for me, this turning point, this acceleration that is so needed. I just get it itchy. When I get a little itchy nose, it's like my psychic centers are onto something. I feel like we're really going to see the fruits of that, or we're going to feel it build between the 9th and the 12th, give or take a few days. So that's a great time to launch something. It's a great time to announce your good news or organize or implement some kind of get together or change. Maybe you're launching something in your workplace. Maybe you want to talk, you want to speak to your manager, that kind of thing. I feel like wait until the 11th or 12th. There's a very open energy around that time. So it's something to look forward to. Then we have becoming someone new. It was hard for me to translate the frequency of this download, but it was like you may not even recognize yourself anymore. You might be looking in the mirror, the metaphorical mirror as well as the physical mirror, but there's something in the soul right now that has been brewing for some time, and it's the kind of change that can surprise you. It can seem even unwelcome. You might be noticing feelings, or for instance, you might have always had a certain routine, or you might have always done something a certain way, and you're noticing lately that's just not floating my boat anymore. And that used to always give me a lift, or maybe it gave you a dopamine hit, and you're just not getting it, and you're starting to realize, you know what, I need to change this, or it's actually changing for you. I've noticed quite a few people talking about their phones, and I feel like there's this beautiful move towards more and more of us disengaging with the phone and with the screen time. So that's just an example of this new you coming in. Maybe you were someone who was always on your phone, or maybe you're somebody who always ate a certain type of diet and now you're flipping that upside down. But there's even deeper than that. There's deep identity crisis even. You could be feeling a crisis around your identity, like I don't actually know what I want anymore, or I don't know who I am. So I have down Becoming someone new. Who are you becoming? Change of identity at a fast pace. And that's why this can be uncomfortable. This might feel way outside your comfort zone. This might feel quite intense and rocky. But the guidance I'm getting is, if you can trust the flow of life and be open and check in, reflect, see how you're feeling, but just remain open to these changes. Because, you know, I often say to clients who say, you know, I've changed, like, I'm not the girl I was, I'm not the person, I'm not the man that I was. I often say, but you're not, you know, maybe you're not supposed to be. Like, we are meant to change in life. Like, look how we're born compared to how we are in our teens, in our 20s, in our 50s, in our 80s. We are constantly changing. And of course we're going to feel this. Of course we're going to have to adapt and adjust to those shifts and changes. But this is a very deep, soulful, spiritual change. This is not a superficial change. I'm not talking about going and getting your hair a different colour, or although that could be a symbol of the deeper spiritual shift that's happening. But this is like, you might be feeling strange, you might be feeling off, you might, oh yeah, this was another big one. You're not reacting in the same way, the old way, the 3D way. Maybe there's someone in your family who always got your goat and you're just so chill beans. You're like super calm around them. You're neutral. It's like the old triggers are no longer active. They're not stimulating or pressing on a nerve, because that wound has actually healed over. It's actually shifted and changed into something that's calm and a neutral sees. And that can be a bit discombobulating to the ego, to the personality, because perhaps you were someone who always reacted in that way with that person. Or maybe it's like a parental figure, or maybe it's a partner, and maybe your go-to was to overly defend yourself or explain something, and now you've no words. It's like a shift, a change in your response to the same stimuli, but it ain't triggering you. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about there. It's like feeling strange, feeling like you don't recognize yourself. And even though, like I said, the angels are saying, even though that can be uncomfortable and weird and you feel a little bit discombobulated, just see how much of an improvement these changes bring, and then adjust accordingly. So August is intense, yet the strengthened soul within you is unusually calm, focused and centered. Now, I'm not saying that you won't have stuff happen around you in August. Of course, life is lifing, life is doing its thing. There's always going to be something that is causing us for growth and causing us to grow and to go into those growth cycles. But it's like, it ties in with that shift in the identity. You're just not responding or being triggered in the old way. So the soul is being given more space. The soul is being given more airtime. And so that could be an example of why you're just not pushed about being on the phone as much, or doom scrolling, or maybe your soul is calling you to go for that evening walk in nature every night after work so that you can clear your head. So there's more airtime for things that nourish you and that give you that encouragement to feel good. There's definitely a shift away from suffering, from pain, from being a martyr or being the victim. Your victimhood tendencies will definitely be stretched and evolving as we move through the rest of this year. And in September, we will start with our eclipses as well. So that will bring back in this theme of challenging any martyrdom, victimhood, being the rescuer. Those kind of archetypes are actually they're redundant now in this new 5D energy. So a loving redirection, a pointer or nudge to redirect your life in a major shift of change. Things may unfold in surprising ways. Remain open to the new ways. That's pretty straightforward. A loving redirection. Again, don't be surprised if you are thinking, I'm going down route A, and then the soul steps in, or something happens, somebody reaches out, you get new information. Expect any secrets or hidden information to come to light around, I'm hearing the 15th, so that's kind of after the 12th as well. You could realize that actually you need to move on to route B. Just be open. Don't be so set in your ways, and don't shake off any rigidness that has caused you to be so set that this is how something has to look and this is how it has to be. No longer codependent. So again, this will be highlighted more in September when we are looking at the eclipses. But codependency, again, it's a redundant program. These are 3D programs that were placed in us that are not natural to our organic state, and they are petering out. Empaths upgrading to enjoying life on our own terms. Happy days. We are no longer willing to focus on others all the time. So you might have been in a pattern where you were always scanning the room, picking up on the broken-hearted. Again, this rescuer energy, it's obsolete. Pulling back to internal peace. Happiness is an inside response ability, the ability to respond to your own joy. Can you claim that? Can you own that? Big focus on owning, claiming. Yes, please, I'll have that joyful journey. Thank you very much. Pulling back to internal peace. So instead of always projecting and being outside of yourself and making sure everybody else is okay, there's a big move to pulling the focus back inward and actually asking, what do I want? What actually makes me happy? Allow the old 3D patterns and routines to dismantle and dissolve. Destruction is part of creation. Higher voice and sacral activation and acceleration. You're going to see a lot of the old 3D organizations, principalities, educational systems. These old obsolete systems are dissolving, are crumbling. Let them go. Wish them well, send them light, goodbye. Destruction is part of creation. I'm not quite sure why the angel said that, but I have a feeling of it, so let me try and express it to you so you can use it to your advantage. The only way I can really put this into words now is embracing that completion and death and endings are a natural part of life. They are integral to new creation. In order to become a father, the man has to give up his old idea of boyhood and immaturity and being an independent soul, right? S-O-L-E, S-O-U-L. Like, he's got to step into a communal role, a fatherhood role, a role where he's able to think about the pack, the tribe before himself or including himself. So it's like we have to give up our childhood in order to grow into teens and then into adulthood. Destruction is part of creation. So don't push against what's dying or completing in your life. It's playing its role. It's nature in action. We have the destruction of the summer flowers at the end of summer to help us move into autumn. The leaves have to die and fall off the tree. But the tree doesn't freak out. The tree doesn't have a tantrum. The tree doesn't demand that it stays in a summer state. It accepts that. And this is why nature is so important, because it reminds us of the hurts of who we actually are. The tree understands that it's moving into a new season. And you, my friend, are moving into a new season. If you're seeing this message, this is your new season. This is your turning point. Higher voice and sacral activation and acceleration. Your higher voice speaking up when something doesn't feel right for you, it doesn't fit, it's not true for you, in a respectful, loving way from the light, but being able to say, no, actually, that doesn't work for me. No, actually, I don't agree with that. Being able to declare a boundary, confirm a truth, express how you feel from a place of responsibility, from a place of integrity, and being able to confirm and affirm who you are now and what you want now and what works for you and what doesn't. This is the higher voice, the higher throat chakra working and supporting us, nurturing us, and nourishing our truth. Blu-ray souls especially are going through a massive transformation with this. And don't be surprised if when you first start to say no, it can come out a little bit awkward and harsh. But that's just because you're not used to it. It's that a different identity. You're so used to being okay, yes, when inside your inner child is screaming no. So give yourself a chance. Understand that it can be a bit choppy, a little bit rough around the edges when you first start to place boundaries in place and say them out loud. You will fine tune it. You will get better at it. It will be more natural. You'll be able to say no with a smile and it won't seem so abrupt. Give yourself a chance. Sacral energy, sacral chakra around the midsection, around the belly button, the navel. Think orange, think sexuality, vitality, think health, well-being, diet, exercise, movement, sunshine, think solar energy. These are big themes in August. I really hope that this gave you food for thought, for your soul, for your physical life as well, all combined in one holistic, beautiful conglomeration. If you enjoy this, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. The light in me recognizes the light in you. Thank you for being here with me and have a beautiful August.